SHIP's 8-week Family Run Club video series. Welcome. My name is Janice Kalos, Coordinator of Wellness and Community Outreach for the School Health Initiative Program, SHIP, which is generously funded by a grant from the Williamsburg Health Foundation, which is then given to Williamsburg-James City County Public Schools. Running has been at the forefront for most of my life. It is just part of who I am. My training has come from trial and error and from the expertise of our area runners. I have been part of local running clubs for many decades and participate in events from 5Ks to half marathons. For the past 10 years, I have been responsible for coordinating our after-school challenge run clubs. Helping others find the love of running is what brings me joy. If you're a beginner runner and would like to run a 5K, which is 3.1 miles, after 8 weeks of training, this program is for you. This program is designed for beginner runners who want to strengthen their cardiovascular fitness with the goal to complete a 5K in 8 weeks. If you are an adult and unsure of your current health condition, please see your doctor before starting this program. Each week, I will share daily instructions on exactly what to do for that week of training to help you reach your goal of completing a 5K run. I will include stretching to perform before and after your run to avoid injury. I will share weekly run tips, healthy eating tips, and community run locations to train or join in weekly group run sessions. If you follow this 8-week training program, you will be able to comfortably run a 5K after the 8 weeks of training. Phrases to be familiar with throughout this 5K training program. The walk-run method. You will be using the walk-run method to prepare for the completion of the 5K distance, which is 3.1 miles. Jog. An easy pace that you can maintain while talking to a partner. Rest days. Rest days are important for your body to recover from the exertion of training days. Rest days can also include easy walking, yoga, or any non-strenuous activity. Dynamic stretching. Stretching with movement. Static stretching. Stretching without movement, only done after dynamic. Minutes over miles. This program will focus on minutes of running instead of how many miles are run at one time. Switching up the days. You may flip-flop the training days to fit your schedule. Welcome. Today I will share the daily instructions for week 1 of our 8-week 5K training program. But first, I'd like to share some tips. And our first is a running tip. And my first running tip this week is I want to share with you the importance of wearing good shoes. You always want to make sure that you are wearing shoes that have plenty of support, that are comfortable on your feet, and that give you plenty of room where your toes are. It's very important to make sure that you have these good running shoes so you avoid injury. My second tip today is a healthy eating tip. And today what I'd like to share, I feel like it's so important for us to choose foods that are whole foods. And when you think of whole foods, you want to think of foods that are not touched by machinery. Now, which are processed foods. And I will talk more about processed foods in week 2. But what I'd like you to think about right now are whole foods. And whole foods are fresh fruits, vegetables. When you think of those things, you think of spinach and tomatoes and potatoes, things that come from the ground that have not been touched by machinery. Those foods will give you the most bang for your buck for nutrients. And you want to make sure that you're putting most nutritious food in your body to give you energy to do this running. So think about when you're eating this week, think about mostly eating those whole foods. Now, my next tip is a community run location. And every week I will be sharing a different run location in our community that you can join. You can run, you can walk. It's a great group of people that all have the same thing in mind. They want to get out and they want to move. And my first location this week is on Duke of Gloucester Street. There is a group of people that meet at 6 p.m. on Mondays on Duke of Gloucester Street, right in front of the cheese shop. They run a 5K, which you can run, you can walk, you can do a little of both. But it's a great group to join, and it's local people here that meet up on Mondays on Duke of Gloucester Street in front of the cheese shop. So there's my first local community run group that you can easily join and get your practice in. So I have shared with you a running tip, a healthy eating tip, and a community run location. The next thing we're going to be talking about is our warm-up before we really start our training program. A warm-up is very important to get your muscles warmed up and ready to do that walking. But before I start with the stretching, I want to share with you some tools that I personally use that I think are great. And the first one is called the stick. This is really called the stick. There are thick plastic beads on this rod. And the way I use my stick, I use it on my legs. I really like to massage my muscles before I get going in the morning. I use them all over my thighs, the backs of my legs, my shins. And it's just a great way to get my muscles, broken up and ready to get going. This stick is one of my favorite tools that I use for my muscles. The second tool that I love is called a foam roller. I think this is also a very important tool. I use this every morning as well. And where I like to do this is on the floor, which is hard for me to show you in this video. So I'm going to put it on my stool. But what I like to do with this foam roller is put this on the floor, and I literally just sit on it, and I roll my legs out. I roll the backs of my thighs, I roll my buttocks. I just roll those muscles to get them loosened up and get them ready to get started to do this training program. So with that being said, those are two of my favorite tools. The next I'm going to share with you are the stretching for our warm-up. Now, I talked about in those slides dynamic stretching and static stretching. You always want to start with dynamic stretching. You want your muscles moving before you do those still stretches. So one of the best ways to get my legs feeling like they're moving is I do leg swings. You can hold on to something if you need to, but it's just literally just taking my legs and swinging them back and forth, making sure that they're getting some movement in. I do that on both sides. I also do some kicks to the front. You can hold on to something if you need to. Do both sides. Those are some great dynamic stretches. Now, to move into some static stretches after you've gotten warmed up a little bit, one of the stretches that I really, for me personally, like to use, and mine are a lot in my legs, but this is a stretch that stretches the front part of your leg right here. You can hold on to something if you need to, but if you just pull up on your leg, you can really feel that stretch to the front part of your leg. That's one stretch. Another stretch that I really love to do is for my inner thighs, and it's just leaning over to the side, and you're going to feel that stretch through this inner part of your leg. I know it's probably hard to see in this video, but I just stretch from side to side. And then finally, a stretch that I feel like is so important is my calf stretch, which I'm going to try to show you in this video. I'm going to have to step back. But I really need to stretch my calves. It's an area that I struggle with. So I'm going to move back so I can show you how you do that. You can see me back there. What I like to do is take my leg and I just lean forward. You're going to keep that leg that's extended back as straight as possible, and you should feel, you're going to bend your front leg forward. You should feel that stretch in the back of your thigh. You want to make sure that you do that on both sides as well. So there you have it. We did some dynamic stretches and we did some static stretches. And next, you're ready to go out and start your training. So let's go run. Phew, so how was that? As you saw through that training program, This training program is going to be a walk-run program. So you're going to walk some and you're going to jog some, but by the end of it, you are going to feel comfortable enough to finish that 5K distance. So now that we're done with our running, and I hope you did a little cool down, it's always nice to do a little walk, a little slow jog to cool yourself down. But we're going to do a few more stretches to finish our cool down, and then I'm going to share one more thing with you. So when I do my cool down, what I like to do, I will go back and use my foam roller and my stick again. But I also like to stretch my muscles out just a little bit more. I typically have problems in my hip area, so another stretch that I really enjoy doing, it is for my hips. And what I like to do is I like to take my foot and I place it right where my hip is, and I try to put this leg down as far as possible, and it really stretches out the sides of my hips. And I like to do that on both sides. It is a great stretch to do to help open up your hips and to stretch those muscles out after you've done that long run. You can go back through and do also those same stretches that we did in the beginning, the calf stretch. You can do this quad stretch. You can do the inner thigh stretch. All of those stretches are still great to do for your cool down. So now that we've done our warm up, we've done our training run, our walk run, and now we've done our cool down, I'd like to share with you a running resolution. And after every training session, I will share with you a running resolution. And today's running resolution is about family time. This is a family training program. We are looking for everyone in the family to be a part of this. Now, if you have real little ones, I'd say kindergarten, first grade, and under that age, you may have to use your judgment as to how much they can do. This program really is for third grade and above. You may have some first and second graders that are ready for it. But the most important thing that I want you to know from this is that it is about family time. It is about running and walking together. You want to try to keep those young ones from sprinting up ahead fast as they can in front of you. You want to try to avoid that because this is about keeping a slower pace. Also, it's safer if they stay closer with you. But this is about maintaining a slower pace, because the slower that you run, the longer distance you're going to be able to go. So we really want to avoid those little ones from sprinting far ahead and getting ahead of you. We want you all to stay together. It's a great time to talk about the day. It's a great time to talk about even how you're feeling while you're running. So what we'd like to say for this running resolution is this is a family time. Stay together. Walk, run as a family. So that's my final running resolution for today. So stay tuned. We'll be sharing week 2 very soon. And I hope you enjoyed this first week of training.